Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm so excited it's a Friday. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I need to take a nap for like 5 days.
Yeah, I bet it's your allergies.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I got something. I sound a little funny, don't I?
You do.
Kind of got a deep voice. I feel like I should be, reading poetry to you.
No thanks.
What do you think, baby?
That doesn't do anything
No?
for me.
Okay. Good news. I've got a guest coming up later in the program here. Going to visit with Andrew Revkin. We're going to talk about weather today.
We gonna?
Yes. We got this. Look at the book. Did you see this book that he sent me?
I did. It's a very
Holy
impressive
cow.
book.
I could use that to smash a cockroach. I mean, that's a big book. It is a solid book, and it looks like a textbook. It's all about the weather. We're going to chat with him later in the program. I've got a quote here from Carlos Costandana. I'm sure I said that wrong. The trick is in what one emphasizes. We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. I like that. Thanks for listening on a miserable Friday. No, it's going to be an awesome Friday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday. It is May the 25th. Today is National Brown Baguette Day. So you're supposed to bring your lunch today.
Okay.
I forgot my lunch. It'll be National Eat Whatever I Feel Like Eating today. National Missing Children's Day. That's really sad. And if you know anybody who's ever lost a child, that someone that's gone missing, that is such a heart-wrenching thing. So today is a day to definitely be thinking of those people and keeping them in your prayers. National Tap Dance Day, a day Heidi celebrates every day. National Wine Day.
Right.
Yeah, it's also National Towel Day. It is National Don't Fry Day. It's always on a Friday, but
Okay.
don't fry on this Friday. And National Heat Awareness Day. All of that happening on this, the 25th day of May.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. That's 800-818-3967. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. But first, I got this story. Federal prosecutors believe that the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to legalize sports gambling could wipe out most of the mafia's core business. So they're going to be looking for something else to do. So hopefully they don't get in the radio biz. I mean, come on, guys. I wonder what they will do. It's crazy. I remember when the great state of Denver, Colorado.
The great state of Denver.
My brain's not working right now. The great state of Colorado, when they legalized marijuana, there were people that were thinking that was going to put all the drug dealers out of business. But
yeah, not so much.
No, as a matter of fact, I think they're busier than ever because now people are...
They just have to undercut the legal guys.
Yeah, and they're like, well, we'll sell to you without the tax. So
right.
I don't know. It's not for me to guess. I just try to stay out of these things. But I have a link to the story if you want to know all about it. It's in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Police said an intoxicated man in Illinois became enraged by Burger King's hours. So he stripped off his clothing in the street before striking a cop a few times.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That is the perfect response for that. No, it's not. What were you doing? Manuel Silverado of Plainfield, Illinois, tried to patron. Okay, that makes more sense. I was thinking alcohol, Patron. He tried to patron the hamburger chain around 2 a.m. I don't think that's the right way to say that. Is that how you would say it? He tried to patronize, maybe?
No,
Or he tried to go
patronize
there?
means something else.
To patron? Is that even a right? Either way. He tried going to Burger King at 2 a.m. According to the fast food website, they close at midnight. A deputy police chief says he was visibly upset the business was closed and was banging on the drive-thru, screaming at the employees inside. He was heavily intoxicated.
Shocker.
Officers were called at 2:15 a.m. by the employees inside. They were concerned. And this guy was drunk and violent. When officers arrived, he proceeded to strip naked. Then he put his pants back on. After determining no property had been damaged and nobody was injured, the police contacted his relatives to pick him up. However,
They let him just go home?
after a sergeant tried to help the man put his shirt back on, then he hit him. So that's when they said, well, now you're not going home. So he was charged with public indecency, resisting a police officer, and aggravated battery.
I can't even believe they were going to let him go home after just stripping off all his clothes.
I don't know. It's 2:15. I think they were going, he didn't hurt anybody. But then he hurt
Wow.
somebody. So that didn't go so well.
When I take off my clothes at Burger King, I always have to go to jail.
First of all, she's never done that. I want to make sure people understand that you're just
No, it was McDonald's.
No, she's a wisecracker. She doesn't do that stuff. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. A Newsbuster report found that the lawyer of Stormy Daniels has been on television over 147 times in the last 10 weeks.
Isn't that crazy?
Stormy, by the way, has only been on 5 times. So this lawyer has been on TV 147 times, doing what he can to get the spotlight, and she kind of got the shaft because she's only been on 5 times. You'd think that, she was the one looking for the attention, and her attorney is the one that got it instead. So Heidi's smirking.
She's used to getting the shaft.
Would you just stop? That is not at all what I meant. A Pennsylvania judge has Would you just stop? A Pennsylvania judge has scheduled Bill Cosby's sentencing for September 24th. Until then, he'll remain under house arrest. So at that time, they're going to sentence him, and he'll go to jail. Just kind of seems weird to imagine that, but I guess you do the crime, you do the time. This has been Big Screen, Little Screen. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Time now for the scoop of the day, brought to you by 49bydesign.com. A 25-year-old Dallas man. This happened a week ago. It was in the news. I just thought it was such a weird thing. He's been arrested for posing as a teenager so he could play high school basketball again. He was discovered by another coach who he had played for 10 years ago. He's like, wait a minute.
Oh, my gosh.
He played for me, but it was 10 years ago. So we're not sports people here, so I'm sure that was probably all over the sporting news. I did see it online a week ago, and then somebody shared it with me and said, you guys should talk about this. So we're talking about it. This is such a bizarre... I don't know if I believe this. It's in our show notes. You can check it out if you want to. I almost didn't read it because it kind of makes me mad. I hope they're not just being silly. Researchers have uncovered a series of sexual jokes in Anne Frank's diary. What? What are you talking about? That has been around for 70 years?
Well... yeah.
I wonder if there's something that was said in there back in the 40s that now means something different, and people are reading this going, oh, hey, did you know she was talking about this? That doesn't mean that's what she was talking about.
Right.
Because there are people who have weird names for weird things, and then you don't want to Google those things because your computer will
I've read
like
that. And I find something dirty in everything, and I did not find anything dirty in that book. So that's a stretch.
I just think it's sad. The CEO of Bumblebee Tuna is in the news. What did that just make you think of?
Ace Ventura 2.
Yeah, Bumblebee Tuna. Bumblebee Tuna. It was some foreign language that they were speaking, and they kept saying something that sounded like that, and he just kept saying Bumblebee Tuna. So I cannot think of this company without thinking of that movie now. The CEO of that company has been arrested on charges of fixing the price of canned tuna. That's not good.
Isn't that his job?
Well, you want to do it legally. Apparently what he was doing was not legal, so otherwise you don't get arrested. It's kind of how that works. I'm no law expert. There are some people who know even more than me about law. But those people, I think, would agree that it probably wasn't right or he wouldn't have been arrested. I think. We'll confer later. We'll have a conference or something. A survey by the Center for Disease Control, you know what they go by? CDC.
The CDC.
Yeah.
Yes.
I say that every time.
Yes.
I don't know why. I just think that's a fun abbreviation to say, the
Okay.
CDC. Doesn't it sound funny?
Oh,
it almost
sure.
sounds like a word, CDC. Sounds like a
that's
word. Sounds like
amazing.
a bug or something.
Can we please move on?
A CDC. No. A survey from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, revealed that the E. coli virus has now been found in romaine lettuce from 32 different states. A list of those states would have been nice, people. Well, maybe it's on the website. I've got a link here in our show notes. I think that story should read, "Don't eat romaine lettuce." That's
Unless you
want to
lose weight.
I just read something where a person was saying
Yeah.
they wanted to get E. coli. That was part of
do
their
that? It's probably the
summer
only
diet
chance I
plan.
have.
If that's part of your summer diet plan, you need a better summer diet plan. I mean, ask CDC. They'll tell you. I don't know if I said it right. A survey by Music Magpie. Let's pause for a second and pretend that's a normal name. What is that?
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Must be a company or something. Anyway, a survey by Music Magpie found that a quarter of parents change classic fairy tales like The Gingerbread Man and Hansel and Gretel because they think they're too politically incorrect for kids.
Good Lord.
So, have you ever changed a story while you were reading it because you thought it was
No.
politically incorrect?
Am I somebody who worries about political incorrectness?
Have you ever changed a story
Never.
to make it more politically incorrect? I can
Yes.
see that. I can see that first.
Yes, actually.
Before.
I have.
Anyway, moving along here. A Fresno, California man was caught on camera break dancing after he stole some laptops out of a building.
Oh, that's super.
So he stole some laptops, then he was breakdancing. I remember back in the day, breakdancing was kind of a big deal. Is it still a thing? Must be. He was doing that. So I didn't know it was still a thing. And this story, it gives me like little butterflies in my stomach to even hear it. It would make me so sick if I was the one that did this. Former casino mogul Steve Wynn is furious at Christie's auction house. This happened like a week ago.
Oh, yeah.
They put a hole accidentally in his $70 million Picasso.
Yeah.
I bet insurance ain't going to like that. It's a bad deal.
I just don't understand anybody wanting to purchase something like that.
Well,
Why would you want something that valuable that can be
It's
so
an
easily
investment, Heidi.
damaged?
It's an investment. You don't understand. You have a picture of a llama that cost $8.
I love my llama picture, and I would be devastated if somebody
I won't put any holes in
from
it.
Christie's auction house.
They won't. I will not let them touch your llama painting. We got that clear. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Do you have ideas for t-shirt designs, but you don't have a clue how to print them? Or maybe you'd like to have t-shirts and coffee mugs available to buy online with your business logo printed on them. There's a website that makes it easy. We set ours up in about 10 minutes. There's no sign-up fee, no minimum orders, no monthly fees. It's just a really easy way to put some cool items online for sale, and you get paid every time somebody buys them. You don't have to print or ship anything. Just sign up, upload your designs, and then let people know where they can get your cool stuff. More details available at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today, we're going to talk about the weather. And we're going to talk about the weather with a guy that knows a whole lot about the weather. Andrew Revkin actually wrote a book called Weather. From cloud atlases to climate change, it's an illustrated history of weather. Now, Andrew, when you get a chance to talk to people about weather, what's the most common thing they want to talk to you about?
Well, when they run into me and know that I've written about global warming for 30 years and it's cold, they usually say, "Hey, so where's your global warming?" That's one thing. And the answer is weather is not climate. But they're usually questions of that sort. What is it about our system that can create such weirdness? Even though we think we're so smart now, we have all these supercomputers and that kind of, those are the questions I get.
Andrew, I've got a copy of your book here right now, and it almost reminds me of a textbook.
Yeah, it's the publisher has mastered the art of doing these beautiful illustrated books. They're histories of things. There's the law book, the medicine book, the engineering book, and this is a history of weather and climate. And they kind of came to me a couple of years ago and offered the idea, and I said, well, what I'd like to do is a book that's the history of our relationship with the system. So it's not just like the worst storm, the biggest tornado. It includes the invention of air conditioning, for example, and and the early days of sail when we first harnessed the wind. There's in Cleveland, Ohio. I didn't know this, but in 1887, an engineer there built a giant wind turbine generating electricity. He and a guy in Scotland that year became the first people to produce electricity using wind power, and I loved that. It prompted me to dive in past my surface knowledge on things right back through the history of our atmosphere, because I started to say, well, how do you start a book about the history of weather and climate? Well, it has to be, when did Earth get its atmosphere? Because you can't have weather without an atmosphere. So it's the whole schmear, and it was just fun to kind of poke and learn and put it together.
Now, Andrew, in your book, you have 100 different weather milestones. Was it hard to come up with 100 things, or was it more difficult to narrow it down to only 100 things?
It was the latter for sure. There are many moments that were left out. Just the last 100 years could easily do 100 moments and still run out of room. But we tried to make it. My wife, Lisa McHaley, who's an environmental educator, middle school science teacher, she helped, and we just tried to make it an adventure as much as we could. So it's not boring. It gets at these things that, again, some of them felt sort of whimsical at first, but they turned out to be interesting as well. There's an item on what's called watermelon snow. It was in the early 1800s. A British ship captain came back from the Arctic. He had seen pink snow, and he put it in a bottle. Of course, it melted into water and brought it back, and botanists figured out later it was algae that are growing in the snow that can make it look pink or other colors. And that tells a lot about just how science works as well. So each item has this kind of layer of discovery in it that made it more than what we would have imagined. Although, again, it could easily be 1,000, but it's more like a Whitman sampler. The idea was to get people to just sort of taste the science and the insights through the centuries, and then also that allows the knowledge that built about global warming in recent years to be seen more in the context of the full journey that we've been on.
In addition to these 100 big topics, we got a bunch of little bite-sized things in here as well, little topics that you have little blurbs about. One of my favorites on the list is Groundhog Day. What are we going to learn about Groundhog Day in your book?
Well, among other things, it's actually a European tradition that got transplanted across the Atlantic. The nature of the beast, the animal, changed, but it was focused in Pennsylvania, obviously, and became a ritual that is much more about ritual and in looking ahead to spring than it is about science. The scientists have actually done some studies on the groundhog's accuracy, and it's pretty much a wash, of course. But it's an entertaining moment late in the winter when we all have that feeling of, when can we get out of here? There's another item that's similar on the History of the Farmer's Almanac, which first published in 1794. And they kind of became a big deal in 1816 when their summer forecast called for snow in July. And it was actually a printer's error, but it turned out that it did snow. And it was because of a volcano that had erupted on the other side of the world that they, of course, didn't know about, that had chilled the climate. That was what some historians called the year without summer. So the popularity of the Farmer's Almanac came about substantially through a printer's error.
That is awesome. Andrew, thank you again for taking the time to visit.
My pleasure.
Again, the book is called Weather, From Cloud Atlases to Climate Change, an Illustrated History. It's available right now. I've got a link in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
It's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The word stewardesses is the longest word in the English language that can be used to type the entire word with just your left hand. I disagree. If you really want to, you can type any word you want with just your left hand.
You know what the longest word is that you can type on the top row?
No. What is that?
Typewriter.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow. That's cool. You should have said fun fact for you, John.
Fun fact for you,
What's
John.
that, Heidi?
Do you know what the longest word is you can type on the
Yeah,
top
it's
row?
typewriter.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard that one before, like 12 seconds ago. That is so 12 seconds ago. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The electric chair was invented by a dentist. That's kind of cool.
I think we said that one the other day.
I think we didn't say it the other day, did we? I think we've talked about it before. Hopefully we didn't talk about it the other day. If we did, you got an extra version of it.
Yeah.
Was it funnier the other day?
I don't know.
Okay.
I remember saying I'm terrified of them. So.
Oh. I wonder if we said that on the air.
And then you said anti-dentites.
Oh.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Well, let's pretend we didn't talk about that. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
And it's time now for the grandiloquent word of the day. Today's word is dysania. What do you think dysania means, Heidi?
I don't know.
Dysania.
Is it talking out of order?
No. Why would it be that?
Because dyslexia is reading out of order, like the
I
letters
see what
out of
you're saying.
order.
Oh, that makes sense.
So saying ya,
I'm
just
saying it. No.
What
Although,
is it?
I do believe you struggle with dysania. It is the state of finding it difficult to get out of bed in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever struggle with dysania, Heidi?
Oh yeah.
Not always, but
Not
sometimes.
always. Not as much lately.
Do you
as
want
I
it in
did.
a sentence here?
Sure.
It says, no matter how long I've been sleeping, I always suffer from dysania. Really? That's kind of a ripoff for the sentence there, folks. I mean, don't you feel a little shorted on that sentence?
A little bit, but usually the sentences don't make any sense.
Well,
at least that one made sense.
At least I could read all the words this time, and I think I got most of them right. The grandiloquent word of the day, dysania. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, some weird news on a Friday. Police were called to investigate a domestic disturbance in a southern German town, and they found a man arguing with a parrot. Yes, this is right near the Swiss border. A gentleman called the emergency number to report his concerns of a loud altercation next door, and it's something that's been going on for quite some time. I don't know what's happening, but there's this argument ensuing. Police said Tuesday they sent officers to the scene, and they heard the loud argument happening. It was between a 22-year-old man and a parrot. The man told them he had been annoyed by the bird, which belonged to his girlfriend. The parrot responded to being shouted at with loud noises of its own. Police said it couldn't speak, but it did bark like a dog. Since
funny.
nobody was hurt, the officers just left, and they said, y'all have a good day now.
Yeah, just quit yelling at the parrot.
Yeah, leave the parrot alone. Maybe you put a blanket over his cage. Isn't that what you're supposed to do when they get all squawky and talking back?
I don't know. I've never had a bird.
When I was a little kid, we had a bird. Our bird never talked. It was not a parrot, though. I think it was a canary. I don't know. I tried to get it to talk, and they said, that's not going to work. So I gave up.
It's
I'm
probably
not sure.
a swallow.
What is?
Your bird.
Why?
I could see your family catching some random bird from the yard and sticking it in a cage.
You guys have caught a blackbird. We're going to keep it in a cage. No, we did not do that.
Fun fact for you, Monica Lewinsky had one of those.
Would you just stop? This has been a little bit of weird news, and Heidi is embellishing a little as well. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Time now for your moment of duh. Firefighters in Indianapolis, Indiana, said a woman hit the gas instead of the brake in her brand new car and drove through the wall of an apartment. Her apartment. Pictures tweeted by the fire department show the white Chevy Malibu stuck through the window of an apartment, and it says the entire front end of the car was inside after the crash. A look from inside the apartment shows the car hovering several feet above a sofa and a dining room table with debris scattered about the room.
Above a sofa. So she launched into her apartment.
I think maybe she lived in a basement apartment. And, so it went down. I don't know. It says here, thankfully, firefighters say nobody was injured in the accident. Crews were dispatched to check the structure for stability and fix the giant gaping hole.
That's a bad day right there.
Yeah, that is a bad day. Have you ever done something like that where you thought it was in one gear and it was in another? I did that once. I didn't hit anybody, thank goodness, but I pulled up to the stoplight and I was in the crosswalk instead of before the crosswalk because I was going to go through the light, and then I was like, I better stop. And then there's some people trying to use the crosswalk, so I put it in reverse and back up a little bit, and they smiled and waved, and then I got ready to go, and then thank God there was nobody behind me. I hit the gas and I go backwards. And they were walking still over on the side, and they laughed hysterically. And then I put it in drive and went the right way. But I thought, I am so glad there was nobody behind me.
Yeah, that would have been awful.
I gave those pedestrians a little show, so you're welcome. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
it's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
John and Heidi.
Time now for fake news or Florida. You ready? I'm going to probably only get to one today.
Okay, I'm ready.
I got to be a little sparse on the ones I use. I'm running out of these now. So,
Okay.
folks, you can send me your fake news stories. You can just make anything up, and we'll see if Heidi will believe it. Or you can send me a real story from the state of Florida, and now we have to see if Heidi can discern the difference.
Okay.
All right. Fake news or Florida? A Florida woman is accused of pulling a gun on another shopper in a supermarket after an argument that began in the checkout line. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
Yeah, it is Florida. 36-year-old Jessica Mock was in the checkout line at a grocery store, and then she left. It says she left briefly for a forgotten item. When she returned, a woman had gotten ahead of the cart that she left in line, and it says here the two argued about the fact that she bumped in front of her. After the argument, the victim was returning to her cart outside and the supermarket there, and that's when Ms. Mock pointed a handgun at her.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal, lady.
Right? I mean, you've both gotten through the checkout. You're both on your way.
You're okay.
Get
Leon
over
County
it.
Sheriff's Office charged Mock with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. So it's just crazy. You don't do that.
No.
Now, I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
But you be a responsible gun owner and don't do silly
Exactly.
things because you're the ones that make it look bad for everybody.
Don't pull out that thing unless your life is in danger.
Exactly. Coming up, we've got some good news to get to. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of Odiva. It's a monthly subscription service just for the ladies. All the details at radiosavings.com. All right, a cafe hires and feeds the homeless, and they just built a village for their rough-sleeping employees. I think this is just such a cool story. A sandwich restaurant chain that hires homeless people has gone one step further for their employees by building them their own tiny house eco-village. How cool is that?
Oh.
And it starts next month. The village's 11 portable eco-friendly homes will host up to 20 homeless people for 12 to 16 months, trying to help them get back on their feet
Right.
so they can do it. During their stay in the village, residents will be given essential training, education, job resources, and transitional support until they can be helped into permanent housing at the end of their stay.
Nice.
Another 20 residents then would move into these homes for their own transition. And this is from a company called Social Bite. It is a Scottish cafe, so this is in Scotland, and a charity that's been training and hiring homeless to work in 6 locations across Edinburgh, Scotland.
That's fantastic.
It is. In addition to 100% of their restaurant proceeds going to charity, Social Bite also provided over 100,000 items of free food to the homeless last year. It says here, something special has been created. It says the Scottish Communities Minister is the one that said that. It's just a neat thing. It says not just building houses, but building homes, building a community that will provide support and enable folks to rebuild their lives.
That's fantastic.
I love that. What a great story. And it's a way for these people to get back on their feet and hopefully have a brighter future. So,
yeah. Wow, what a
really
great
neat.
story.
I've got a link to that story in our show notes. It's the good news section at the far bottom of the show notes. You'll find that at johnandheidishow.com. I'm going to go take a rest now and hopefully sound better next week. I sound kind of funny.
You do. You sound rough.
I'm a little sniffly. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend.